Queen City Leader Mini Summit. Do you want to be who you could have been? Hey, look, we all go through tribulations. Here's what we know. Life is precious. Let's hear from someone that truly knows that and is doing something with it. Queen City Leader Mini Summit, please welcome a very inspirational person that really cares about the people he serves with, the people he serves for, and the community he serves in. CEO of Broad River Retail, doing business as Ashley Home Stores, Charlie Malouf.
What's happening, Queen City Leader Summit? It is a privilege and an honor to speak with you today. Well done, good and faithful servant. You are all familiar with this verse of scripture from Gospel of Matthew, Matthew 25:23. Man, that verse of scripture has inspired me. We've had the perfect example of being a servant leader from Jesus Christ himself. So talking about building a culture of service, I jumped at the opportunity to speak to you all on this topic today, building a culture of service. So let's have a little bit of fun with it. Okay, well done, good and faithful servant, and the example from Jesus Christ. You know, I heard something from Ed Milet, who's a top podcaster and speaker. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Ed Milet. He added something to that phrase that really struck a chord with me recently. He said, that phrase has inspired him, but he said also he thinks what's motivated and inspired him is he thinks he's going to meet the person he could have been, with the potential that he was born with when he meets his maker. Man, gosh, that stopped me in my tracks. And he went on to say, when I meet the person I could have been, I want to be as close to an identical twin with that person as possible. I don't want that person to not know who I was. So think about that for a second. We're all born with amazing God-given talents, abilities, and potential. Rest on this word potential. I think that's such a powerful word. I heard a phrase from the book Win the Day by Mark Batterson that I read at the beginning of this year that really, really inspired me. He's got this phrase and it goes, our potential is God's gift to us. What we do with that potential, with our potential, is our gift back to God. Wow. You mean I can live my life in a way of service that gives a gift back to God by just trying to take advantage of the potential that I've been blessed with. And guess what? We all can do that. I love that. So now when you think about it at an individual level, because we're all individual leaders and we aspire to be the best type of leaders that we can be. We're all working on our best selves and continuous improvement. I think that's awesome. And when you think about your company, I think our companies have amazing potential. What are we going to do with our companies with the opportunity that we have to serve? Okay, so we've talked about service, the example of service, and potential. And I just want to take this talk just a little bit I just want to turn the corner a little bit and talk about purpose. Purpose is another powerful word. And building a culture of service purposefully. We've had in our company Words of the Year. And in 2019, on the heels of launching our company's purpose statement, we had a year of purpose. I'm going to talk about that today. How do we get a purpose statement anyways? We marinated on that for nearly a year. We were coming up with our vision statement, like all of you have mission, vision, values, and articulating the differences of each of those. And we really wanted a purpose statement, but we couldn't agree on that. And then finally, and it struck just a chord of coming up with it, wrote it down, and it's 4 simple words. Furnishing life's best memories. But you know what? When I came up with those 4 words, I didn't tell my business partners, I didn't tell our leadership team. I wanted to make sure that they stuck with us, and that we could live it out first before we messaged it to our people. So nearly a year later, 2018, I shared it with my partners, then they loved it. We shared it with our leaders, they loved it. And then we said, well, how are we gonna launch it? And we got very purposeful about launching it. Let me talk about those 4 words and why they're important for us. Furnishing. We're in the home furnishings business. And so that's a great anchor word for us, but furnishing could mean so many different things: empowering, nourishing, delivering, providing, all of these different words that we think furnishing could be and could mean: encouraging, creating, enriching, enabling. And so all those are really important to us. And then think about this word life. Ask anyone who's had a near-death experience if they value life, and I guarantee you they absolutely do. And as an organization, in 2015, we had a near-death experience. And I think that gave us just this tremendous gratitude for just having a company that's growing and thriving. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't know the history of our company, just like they don't know the history and the trials and tribulations of which we are all promised that you have gone through. They didn't know what we had gone through. But I believe life is precious and life is to be cherished. And so this aspect of life for us was also connecting with the home, with family, being happy and just recognizing the preciousness of life and not taking that for granted. What are we gonna do with our life? What are we gonna do with our company's lives? What are we gonna do with that potential? How are we gonna be purposeful and intentional about that? Okay, best. So we're partnered with Ashley Furniture Industries. They say they wanna be the best furniture company. Okay. Our vision statement is we want to be the premier Ashley home store operator. And so connecting our vision and our corporate partners' mission to be the best furniture company, our vision to succinctly be the premier Ashley home store operator, in other words, to win the AFL every year. It doesn't exist, the Ashley Furniture League, but we make it up. We're competing for the Chairman's Award every year in our mind, but it bears out a level of humility. We look at all the other Ashley home store operators around the country whom we've been blessed to learn from, to speak with, to be great friends with, and we acknowledge their greatness, and let's compete with each other. Let's help each other get better. Quick sidebar, if you look at the etymology of the word compete, it's from the Latin word competare. I would tell you, I think the word compete gets a bad rap. It's not a negative word. There's no negative connotations to it. The word competare and the etymology of the word compete mean to strive together. Competition was always about striving together to bringing out the best in each other. Okay, so best. I would also tell you, again, going back to the potential, like God wants us to realize our potential. He gave us this amazing potential, each of us. We're born with this potential. God wants us to be our best. He wants what's best for us. That's my belief, and hopefully that's your belief as well. And I want to give my best. I want to do my best. I want to be my best. I know you do as well. And so best means, most favorite, you're cherished, you're precious, you're treasured, you're prized. Word that we really connect with in a positive way, giving our best, optimizing our God-given talents and abilities, and competing with others to try to be the best in a positive, competitive way. And then memories. Okay, what are we talking about here with memories? Are we talking about like looking backwards, in many decades ago? No, not at all. Okay, so I'm in retail. And in retail, what we like to say is we do not have subscribers. We're not Netflix, we're not Amazon Prime, we're not Verizon or AT&T or HBO. We do not have subscribers. But, and I referenced this book, Win the Day, earlier, our business model means that we have to win the day each and every day. And there could be some pressure in that, but I love that because we never have to live with yesterday's regrets, and we can't get out over our skis and worry about tomorrow. We need to take care of today, and it pegs to our business model. And so what I would tell you with regards to memories, it's not a past or past tense based word. It forces intentionality because I think with our business model, I think when you ride a bike and you learn how to ride a bike, you know how to ride a bike because you remember all the times you fell down. And then when you learn how to walk, toddlers they keep trying. They learn how to walk, they get themselves back up. So I think our past memories, when we fall down in life, guess what? We will all fall down in life. We're guaranteed that. We're all gonna make mistakes. I've fallen down many, many times. But what do we learn from that? How do we get back up? And I think our collective memories are those building blocks that we can look back and say, I did that before. I can do that again. But also, check me on this, because I think we all have future memories. You might call them dreams or goals or life aspirations, but I think you have future memories of who you want to be, where you want to be, and those could be your life's North Star. And I think those are awesome. And so I think living in today, living intentionally in the day is a perfect fusion of your past memories and your future memories in today. And that's how we try to win the day, each and every day. And so, hey, it doesn't matter. There's an old proverb that says, it doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. If you're a gazelle, you better get up running in the morning because you got to outrun the lion. And if you're a lion, you got to get up running in the morning because you got to outrun the gazelle to get something to eat. So, hey, when we wake up every morning, we got to get up running, ready to go. And I know you do as well. Okay, so furnishing life's best memories, 4 simple words. And that is our organization's purpose statement. I'm going to tie it back to our topic today, building a culture of service. Because I would tell you, take the period off memories. And when we say furnishing life's best memories, this is not an inward-focused purpose statement. Again, we're starting with the example of Jesus Christ and the perfect example of servant leadership that we have. And it's an outward-focused, like furnishing life's best memories. I tell all of our people, it's for other people. I don't want to furnish life's best memories for myself, although I want to furnish life's best memories for my family, but I want to furnish life's best memories for 3 audiences that I'm going to talk about today. For our people, and guess what? We don't call our people teammates, associates, employees, coworkers. You've heard other folks come up with, Disney comes up with cast members. Hey, we're in the business of furnishing life's best memories. And so our people are memory makers. Our identity, we are memory makers. So we want to furnish life's best memories for our memory makers and their families. And then for our guests and our customers in our stores, who we have the privilege of serving each and every day. And the third one is for our neighbors, for our community. We live and work in our communities and our neighborhoods, and so what are we going to do with the opportunities that we have to serve and give back? We want to serve and give back to our neighbors. So we're going to talk about those 3 audiences. Let's start with purpose in the workplace. Okay, so I mentioned earlier, purpose begins with identity. That's a phrase that we like to say. How are we purposeful with that? Use your identity as a North Star. For us, we're memory makers. That reinforces through language, okay, if I'm a memory maker, how do I need to act with my coworker? How do I need to act with my guest? How do I need to act at home? I'm a memory maker. I need to be intentional about not letting it be a fleeting moment, but letting it be an etched memory. It forces intentionality in my actions. It forces me to remember those future memories that I want to get to and how it changes my behaviors. But also, if you go to some big companies, they have so many hundreds and thousands of stores, and they'll say, hey, in store 6,221 or store 321, we don't talk about that. We asked all of our managers and our store leaders, hey, what's your store nickname? And then they told us. And then we worked behind the scenes and we came up with unique identities, logos, and branded graphics put on coffee mugs and hats and shirts and stickers. And we put them in our sales reports and in all of our like online materials so that they've got their own identity. So our Pineville store is not known as Pineville, it's the flagship enterprise. Our university store is not known as the university store or store 102, it is known as the Unstoppables. That's what they came up with. And we wanted them to hold on to their own unique identity. So that's something a little bit unique and different that we do. Okay, when we launched our company's purpose, part of the construct of coming up with that was be it, do it, say it. It was step 4 of this part that we had, which was activation. And so we didn't want it just to be, hey, check the box, we've launched our company's purpose, let's go on to the next project. No, we wanted to hold ourselves to account, to be accountable to living it out every single day. So we formed a purpose activation committee that met every single week to study the topic of purpose and organizational purpose, individual purpose, fulfillment at work. We learned so much. We attended purpose summits, purpose conferences, we read purpose-led books, and then we activated purpose throughout our organization. I'll talk a little bit about that. We went on tour, we had an Orange Crush tour, and many other activities like that. We're intentional with just thinking of touch points of how we can infuse purpose in the workplace. For instance, everyone remembers their first day at work. And we said, okay, how can we make it more memorable? So we've got a day 1 box, we've got day 1 welcome videos that we produce from our leadership team so that we can make sure that we are intentional with when you go home at night and you talk to your partner, your spouse, your parent, your family, I made a great decision. You won't believe what they did for me on my first day. So every opportunity of their engagement with us, we need to challenge ourselves to how can we be intentional to making those memorable moments. For instance, there's milestones in sales. And so we're going to do videos when you hit your first $100,000 and send you a video and just cheer you on. We do so many events with celebrating our memory makers. I mean, it's for free, recognition and celebration. And you can look at it and say, gosh, what does that look like on a bottom line to have that event? I would tell you, don't look at it like that. Just make the conscious decision that we're going to celebrate and recognize our people. We have formed a department called our Memory Maker Experience Department, and someone leads that department, a team leads that department, and so that we can be so intentional with investing in cherishable, treasured, memorable touch points so that we can turn those touch points into life's best memories. That's what we want to do for our memory makers. We came up with this thing called purpose bombs. They're just when we take a person who's done an awesome job or a department who's done an awesome job or worked really hard on a project, and we just take a team of people and we just purpose bomb them. We canvas them with prizes, celebrations. I mean, let me tell you, to be purpose bombed, I've been purpose bombed, is awesome. I mean, to have an army of people cheering you on and celebrating you and clapping for you and just, you don't get that spontaneity in life anymore. And like, that's something that we can do and have fun with it. So purpose bombs have been something that we've created. We came up with the first Purpose Summit, Purpose 828 for a retail company. We devoted a day of purpose. We converted our leadership summit to a Purpose Summit, 828. It was held on August 28th, but is also inspired by Romans 8:28. And so we wanted to spend a day of purpose with our memory makers and with breakout sessions, with purpose-led leaders, and just so many, to talk about just this topic of purpose and to share what we've been studying through the Purpose Activation Committee. And this shirt comes from that. This was one of our shirts from Purpose 828. We continued the work of Purpose 828 when we moved into 2020, when our year was our United year, and we had our United in Purpose series with tremendous speakers, from well-known speakers and authors who would just come in for a day of serving and speaking and giving back and sharing their stories. And those were free events that we did for our people to reinvest with our people. Hey, we wanted to catch people doing things right. So we launched and created Project Premier. And that's just like their peer-nominated actions and activities to catch people doing things right. And then they get awards and trips. I just spoke with someone who just took a weekend away to the Grove Park Inn. He won our Memory Maker of the Year award and got a Project Premier gift. And he got a weekend away in Asheville at the Grove Park Inn. He was like, Charlie, it was amazing. It was awesome. We got to go down to the spa and enjoy it. And by the way, when you celebrate your people or you give them trips, don't forget that +1. You got to take care of the +1 as well. That's something that my business partner, Manny, has driven into us, and we really want to make sure that we take care of their +1 as well, because they support their efforts at work. And as you know, it's always a team. It's always a team. It's a team at work. It's a team at home. Hey, when the social injustice events flared up last year, many of our memory makers were hurting, and we listened to them, and that hit hard for us. And so we said, what can we do? What can we do to make sure that our memory makers knew where we stood? So we declared that we're not going to be silent. We actually shut down all of our stores and our company for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in memory of what happened with George Floyd. And we declared an anti-racism commitment. And we formed an anti-racism committee that's now, it's called our ARC, A-R-C, and they meet every single week to help us understand how, and we've done table talk sessions, and we've just said, hey, look, let's get together and let's talk about our experiences. Whether you're black, white, Asian, whatever, let's come together and let's talk about our shared experiences so that we can understand each other better and make sure that we're working together and understand where each other's coming from and not be afraid to have these conversations. And that was along with our culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Also looking out for our memory makers, one of our co-founders really wanted to figure out a way to give back to our people. So we started a founder scholarship fund where we give back scholarships to the children of our memory makers. And they send in their nomination forms, and then we select them, and then we help them afford higher education because of what that could do to change the trajectory of their lives and to make it more affordable. Okay, the pandemic was a tough year, and for all organizations at varying levels, and for us as well. And when the pandemic hit, we were scared like everyone else was. I mean, we didn't know if we could go to do deliveries in people's homes. We didn't know if our stores could be open. Our people didn't know if they needed to come to work or what they needed to do. And for our people who needed to furlough for varying reasons, we said, what can we do to give back? We established a Memory Maker Assistance Fund. And I would tell you, we sent checks to our people through this fund that we established and funded and created before they got their first stimulus checks. Not because we had to do it, because we wanted to do it. And I would also tell you that several of my colleagues and others, business associates, were telling me, hey, use this opportunity to cut the bottom 10%. There's this old Jack Welch 1980s mantra. And we're like, wait a second. We're just coming out of reading the book Everybody Matters, which I highly recommend, by Bob Chapman. And we're talking about everybody matters, and it's not their fault that they're getting sent home. No, we're going to declare that we're going to have shared sacrifices by all of us to ensure brighter tomorrows for each of us. And so our mantra became, we're going to have shared sacrifices, each of us, and we want to bring all of our memory makers home. And by the end of the second quarter of last year, all of the furloughs had ended, and we were able to restore everyone back to full-time employment who elected to come back. And furthermore, we have now, as of now, all of our pandemic cuts and cutbacks and things that we had to cut have all been fully restored, including 401k match, including what we launched before the pandemic, our Corporate Chaplains of America partnership, which is proven to be great in terms of serving our people in times of crisis. Okay, so why do we do all of this? Like, why do we want to give back? Well, part of it came from being inspired from the conscious capitalism movement, and also from this concept of mutual prosperity. Okay, so there's a cartoon graphic I like, and it goes something like this. It's a win-win, but a win-win-win would be better. And it talks about this triple bottom line. When you're looking out for your people, for your customers, and for your neighbors, your community, and everyone who, even your vendors and your partners, everyone who you have a chance to come in contact with in business. It's how do you have a sustainable business? It's not like a zero-sum game. And it's really the juxtaposition of a spirit of scarcity versus a spirit of abundance. And so when we had our near-death experience and came back to life and were resuscitated in 2015, we got a chance to break all of our bones and build it back in a way that we said, how do we want to live out this business? What are we going to stand for? What do we want to be about? And it was about prosperity for all of us. I would tell you that we started with giving everyone a raise in our company when we were at our worst, and all of our retail team members. And I would tell you, our retail memory makers, we have the most lucrative compensation plans of any home furnishings retailer in America. And we pride ourselves on that. But it pays off dividends. The more we've invested in our people, the better our company has performed. It just has worked like that. And so we haven't shied away from great, amazing jackpot bonuses, and having people to strive for amazing gifts and prizes and cash compensation for doing an amazing, awesome job. Because if the company wins and you play the great game of get business together, then and the guest wins and you do things the right way for a long period of time, you take a long-term view, then your people should win as well. And that's kind of our mindset. And we live by that. We want to hold ourselves accountable to that. Let me give you a tangible example. In 2014, we love this stat, by the way, we only had $1 million writer. Now, last year, we had $51 million memory makers. Okay, our goal for 2021 was 60 to continue to grow it. We want to grow every year. As of right now, we're on pace for $100 million memory makers. So we're paying out more than we've ever paid in bonuses, commissions, but the company's performing better than it's ever performed. You see how that works? It's a spirit of abundance being actualized. And a company that can be that example, city on a hill. That's our North Star. We want to be emblematic of that company on a hill that others can look to, that we can be modeled by, that we can be held accountable for how we live, work, and treat our people. And so our $1 million memory makers, they earn considerably more than other furniture stores' $1 million memory makers, considerably more. And we measure it, we look at stats, and it's because we're not trying to find ways to pay them less, we're trying to find ways to pay them more. And then they'll fight and produce and earn more. And so those are some of the ways that we try to infuse purpose with our memory makers. That's really, really, really important. Okay, purpose with our guests. That's so important. You gotta be a customer focused company. And so there's a few ways I'll tell you. One, you have to measure it. And there's a lot of ways to measure it. Net Promoter Score is one, and it gives you a score. And we use Qualtrics, which helps us understand at varying touch points, after the point of sale, after the point of delivery, after the point of service technician, after the point of calling into our call center, we want to survey and measure each of those touch points so that we can hold ourselves accountable to improve it. Because if you don't measure it, you can't improve it. But if you measure it and inspect it, you can improve it. And so that's our mindset, to put software and have data analytics to be able to do that. But also, we want to, we enroll our guests with our private events, with supporting a mission or an organization that we're passionate about. We've done things with Susan G. Komen and breast cancer awareness. One of our adopted partners has been St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and we raised several $100,000 for St. Jude, where we may have a private event, and if our guest comes in and donates $20, we're going to give them 20% off, or $25 for 25% off, whatever that specific event, and our guests love it. Many times they'll give $100 to participate with us in giving back to a great organization. But also, it doesn't stop there. We've partnered with Beds for Kids. We serve on boards for nonprofits. My business partner and I do. And we've also done events like one-for-one events. What's a one-for-one event? You've probably heard of that from Tom's Shoes and things of that nature. We started that with our mattresses. So for every mattress you buy from one of our stores, we're always going to put it into a fund for a Hope to Dream. And that fund goes to give mattresses to kids in need. But many times we'll do events where for this full week, if you buy a mattress from us, we're going to donate a mattress to a kid in need through our varying partners like Beds for Kids here in Charlotte. And so we've done that for many years, and our people love it, our guests love it, and we enroll them in that process. So being purposeful with our guests is super important. And then being purposeful in our community, giving back. To touch on the organizations that we were talking about, A Hope to Dream, our goal this year is to give away over 2,000 mattresses to kids in need. To donate through our private events and our other giving over $150,000 to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And to volunteer, because when we serve, we usually get more out of it, over 2,100 collective hours from our memory makers giving back. And we support many organizations through that and always have. And those events with our people, with our guests, and in our communities are really important to us. Even on our Orange Crush tour that I mentioned earlier, we built welcome home baskets together. We did service projects together with our memory makers. And serving together or going on volunteer missions, a lot of times a team or a store will go to a nonprofit and they'll serve for half a day, and we'll give them time off to do that, to every quarter to serve. And it builds culture. We're talking about building a culture of service. Go volunteer together. Nothing builds a culture of service like that. And I would recommend go to Beds for Kids. And sign up early because they stack up volunteers on weekends. It's amazing how many people volunteer at that tremendous organization. Okay, so we've talked about a lot, and I just want to leave you with a couple parting sentiments here. And hopefully this has helped you to understand how you can infuse purpose in building a culture of service. But I would tell you, once you study purpose, think about purpose, and really live and work with purpose, juxtaposed to gravity, gravity pulls you down, purpose propels you forward. And purpose doesn't come and go. Purpose comes and stays. You can't shake it. Purpose comes and stays. And then we are Broad River Retail, and we happen to be an Ashley Home Store licensee. But that word river is in our name, and we rebranded that through a series of events, but Broad River Retail. And I love this quote from John Maxwell. And it's all about paying it forward. But the way we want to live our lives is to be a river, not a reservoir. See, life, and I'm going back to our purpose statement, life doesn't really grow in a pond. A reservoir, it squashes life. But you have abundant life that grows abundantly through a flowing river. And so and a river is always moving, and it's moving forward. And so with our lives, and with our companies, we want to be a river, not a reservoir. Thank you for the time. Have a tremendous summit. It's been, again, a pleasure and a privilege to be with you guys today. Queen City Leader Summit. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Charlie. So it's okay to compete. It's actually good. And you know what? We all should know our NPS or Net Promoter Score. Measuring is a very important thing for all of us to do. And giving back to the community is so important. We always get more than we give. Thank you, Charlie, for what you're doing by sitting on the boards and working with Beds for Kids and others. That's really, really powerful.